So reviews are the lifeblood of a writer, whether trad-published, self-published, or not quite there yet. Last week, I received the last review for my Heroes of the Line Dark Fantasy series from Kirkus Indie Reviews, and it didn't receive a get this recommendation, nor should it have. Give me a moment, and I'll explain. Who am I? I'm J.A. Carlton, author of 10 novels, 3 nonfiction books, and 6 screenplays, and I am the Entangled Cynic. Have you ever read a review for a book only to notice it was just so generic it was like literary Mad Lib? If you don't know what Mad Libs are, Google it. They were insert adjective here, but yet this generic review tells you absolutely nothing pertinent about the story. I'm not talking about spoilers here. I'm talking about valuable information that can really make or break your experience. I mean, would you read the Lord of the Rings series if the review said something like, Frodo Baggins and his friends embark on a perilous journey through unfamiliar wildlands, facing many dangers as they seek to destroy a magical ring that has power to destroy existence? Maybe you would. It does give you enough information to know whether or not the base premise is your style, which is great. But if you can't handle spiders and the review doesn't tell you that Shelob's in there, you might not get past that part. Or if you have issues with dwarves or Gollum or orcs or whatever. You get the point. If you can't handle the idea of a grave robbing and body parts story, you might not want to read Frankenstein. So here's why I am so beyond grateful that an establishment like Kirkus exists, and why I will gladly and more than a little nervously submit the rest of my books to them, all in due time. I submitted my Heroes of the Line books in a wonky order. I submitted the last book first. Why? Because honestly, in my opinion, it's the best. It's the most layered and still cohesive book I have ever written to date. I really wasn't planning on submitting the first 4 books in the series. My hope was that if I got a good review for book 5, it would spur curiosity. But they contacted me asking where the other books in the series were. So I submitted them, the rest in order, 1 to 4. The reviews came out in a timely fashion, each one comprehensive enough to provide a unique understanding of the series as it progressed. And to my sheer delight, each book got a solid get this recommendation or accolade. The effect was beyond uplifting. Finally, there was appreciation, there was understanding, there was someone who read and understood on visceral levels what the books or story was doing. Then came book 4. Now, if you know anything about the hero's journey steps in writing, I'll give you the most commonly used ones. I'll use Star Wars, the first and original movie, which y'all call A New Hope. We just called it Star Wars when I was a kid. The cold open or setup, R2 and 3PO are escaping a battle and they land on Tatooine. And there will be spoilers, by the way. This is where we meet Luke. He's young and restless and disgruntled with his life. This is his status quo, where he is at the moment of the inciting incident. This is how the hero's journey starts. The inciting incident is he finds a message from Leia to Obi-Wan. The call to action happens when R2 escapes escapes the farm and goes to Obi-Wan. And this is where Obi-Wan tells him, about Darth Vader and the Empire and all that stuff. And he asks Luke to join him to help Leia, to help the princess. And Luke says, I can't go with you. I've got to stay here. At which point Obi-Wan tells him, that's your uncle talking. But that is his resistance. That is Luke's resistance to that call to action. Then comes the crisis. His aunt and uncle are murdered. He's set free to go with Obi-Wan, thus beginning his transformation. So Empire Strikes Back is very much Luke's dark night of the soul. He learns of his destiny in the cave. If he leaves when he feels his friends are in need. He has guilt, doubt, feelings of inadequacy, and at the climax, his entire worldview about himself and his place in the universe is absolutely shattered with one utterance from the person he sees as the representative of all that is evil, Darth Vader. Now, Empire and Return of the Jedi are both stages of Luke's transformation amidst the story of this galactic war and the rebellion and the imperial quest for totalitarian power. In Return of the Jedi, we have Luke returning, as in rejoining the rebellion by orchestrating the rescue of Han. This is actually our prologue for the rest of Luke's story. He's changed. He's a Jedi now, or has one last hurdle before he becomes a true Jedi, which is the setup for the rest of the Return of the Jedi movie. Now, not attempting in any way, shape, or form to equate my story with Star Wars on any level other than the standard structure, the standard hero's journey structure. With Heroes of the Line Book 4, the fourth tier, the entire book is basically the dark night of the soul for all the characters. And it's the transformation for all of them. The review for Book 4 calls it an often lurid and disturbing blend of horror and magic. This is 100% accurate. And it's meant to be lurid. And it's meant to be disturbing. And it's meant to be horrific. There are many transformative moments that are distasteful. Some would even say grotesque. There are events that may be highly triggering to, unfortunately, an enormous amount of people. The review itself states, this latest series installment, however, pursues the series' muted theme of a particular kind of abuse, which occurred in the character's past, down a graphic path that readers will find problematic and upsetting. Then it goes on to give an example, which I'm not going to do here. So if I knew something like this could be the result of my writing, why did I write it that way? Honestly, because those who've survived the abuse that is, brought to light grotesquely or luridly in this book, they deserve to have the brutality explained to those who thankfully have never had to endure the long-term effect of such treatment. Because when someone has survived it, there are hurdles and terrors that others can't even begin to imagine let alone understand. And for the sake of those who've come through or are moving through their own tunnel of darkness, searching for the faintest hint of light to guide them, they need to know that the light that they're looking for is inside them. So, because of the nature and intensity of this 345-page Dark Night of the Soul transformation part of the journey, there is no recommendation to get this. There are no accolades, but there's something so much more important for my readers. There's a warning, an example, and enough information to equip any reader for the choice that they make. To be understood, one does not have to read book 4 to enjoy the series or understand the whole of it. Book 4 puts the reader into formative, crushing, fracturing experience. And thanks to the incredible insights of the reviewers at Kirkus, I can be certain that anyone who reads it has been informed properly and without bias. So this is why I will continue to send my books to Kirkus for reviews, though I can't imagine what they're going to do with Broken. But that's a whole nother story. So until next time, I hope this makes sense. And I thank you for being here and for being you. Stay safe, stay well, and stay entangled.